This is an awesome crowd. You guys, I have not seen this many people in one place in a long time. Give yourself a big round of applause. My name is Roxanne Pauline. I'm with the Northeastern Pennsylvania Area Labor Federation, and we're here today to say we are one. Yes. And all the other states that are having horrific problems with our so-called government. What I want to do is turn the microphone over to some of our wonderful speakers, which is going to be, first off the list, the head of the Area Labor Federation and the Secretary-Treasurer of UFCW 1776, Michelle Kessler.
Show up in the middle of a work day. I'm impressed. Give yourself a hand. What's happening across this country. And I was thinking about what am I going to talk about today. And I thought about how do we start off every union meeting we have. And my guess is we start off our meeting just like you start off your meeting. And that's with the Pledge of Allegiance. We believe in this country. We fight for this country. Our unions are filled with veterans and people who take voting seriously and do all the things that you're supposed to do when you're a good citizen. And when things like this happen, we stand up to fight for our rights. Is that what we're here today doing?
Yes.
Now I get the pleasure of acknowledging all the unions that are here today. But I said to someone, well, who's here? I was trying to make a list. And someone said, well, everybody that's here. I know you represent hundreds. Here today matters. Solidarity matters. Take that back to the workplaces with you today. And let me introduce our next speaker. Oh, I apologize. Roxy's going to...
The habit of changing things as we go.
Vice President.
We have somebody that is from Madison, Wisconsin originally, and he's part of the spiritual community in our area. And we want to come together as one, as labor, and with our community. I'd like to introduce you to Rabbi Dan Schwartz.
Good afternoon, everybody. You know, in the Times Leader yesterday, it said that we were expecting 40 to 50 people here, so it's clearly one of those miracles of breads and loaves and things like that. It's a multiplication here today. As Roxy said, I grew up in Wisconsin, and when we were in school in Wisconsin, we studied Wisconsin history. And one of the things we studied was the history of the Republican Party in Wisconsin, and that looked a lot different from what it looks like today. The Republican Party started in Wisconsin in part to recognize the rights of workers that were being denied. Those workers were called slaves, and the Republican Party started to help end slavery. Then in the early 1900s, Fighting Bob LaFollette was the head of the Republican Party in Wisconsin. He busted monopolies and corporate trusts, not unions. And the Republican Party and others in Wisconsin, when I was growing up there, actually read the Bible instead of just thumping it. And if you read the Bible, it's hard to get very far in it without understanding the importance of collective bargaining. I think the first episode in recorded history of collective bargaining, in this case between government workers and a despot, was between Moses and Pharaoh. And we all know that God wasn't entirely happy with Pharaoh's position on labor. When you look through the rest of the Bible, you see that some of the earliest of all the commandments have to do with fair treatment of workers, with not withholding workers' wages, with making sure that they get paid fairly, and making sure that they have access to work. And all of this is what the governor is trying to strip away. Not because of money. As you know, even if it's not reported in the press, the unions in Wisconsin are willing to negotiate. They're part of the state. They're patriotic. They understand the budget crisis. They're willing to pitch in. But he's not interested in the money. He's interested in the power. He's interested in stripping their ability to speak together. I don't know what country he thinks he's in. In this country, when we talk about freedom of speech, it doesn't have to be attached to dollar signs. It's for everybody. And God views all of us as being worthy and created in the divine image. So let's keep hearing your voice, keep hearing the voices from Wisconsin of people speaking up for our fundamental rights as humans, for our rights as workers, for our rights to live in a good and healthy society. And let's not forget that as he's going after the unions, he's also going after the children, cutting Badger Care, which protects the health rights and the well-being of children in the state. That's what's being cut. It's immoral to make it easier to be rich and harder to be a working class person. And that's what's going on in Wisconsin.
Yes.
Let's help stop it.
Yes! And he's going to come up with the American flag. Kenny Kenkel from Local 1193 Auto Workers.
My name is Ken Kenkel, President of Local 1193. We're defense. We build the suspension for the Abrams tank. Our sister plant in Lime, Ohio builds the Abrams tank for the U.S. government. So I think it's important that people realize when you talk about all this union, probably one of the biggest products that we build is the defense for the United States of America. I think everybody should hold their heads high and say we're proud that auto workers and union people build that tank, and we already know what it did in Iraq. So a tip of the hat to all union workers, that's quality at its best. The only other thing, I'll make it short and sweet. This isn't an attack on unions. That's the core of it all, but it's really an attack on middle-class America. Right now, we are at a level, the spread between the rich and the poor is equal to levels of the Great Depression. If that doesn't scare everybody, I don't know what it will take. The people that are here today, they get it. They understand what this is all about. We get it. Our biggest challenge is getting to the people that aren't here. So everybody needs to take the message back to the folks that aren't here, your coworkers, your neighbors, your family, and make them try to understand it. A very good friend of mine, probably one of my best friends, came to me the other day and he said, look what Obama's doing in this country. Now, he was the guy that voted for him. But he's an over-the-road truck driver, and he spends all his time listening to the radio. And he listens to these crackpots. And after a while, if you hear it over and over and over, you start to believe it. You start to believe it. So there we go. So I guess my message is, everybody that's here, we understand it or we wouldn't be here. Please get to your neighbors, your friends, your co-workers, and get the message, make them understand what this is all about. And it's that old thing that goes way back to World War II, and you know how it all starts, but the end result is when they came for the Jews, there was nobody to listen. So we got to get that message out there. We got to be loud and proud and make our voice heard. Thank you.